What's up, Internet? I'm getting ready to do next week's videos, but before I do that, or this week's videos, but before I do that, I want to talk to you about last week's videos. I am aware of the us also. I'm working on those. I am aware that I have this noise in the background that click, 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 click. I'm aware of that. And I'm going to tell you that the reason that that is there, even though I did catch it pretty early on, like in early post production, was I am an author who does social media as part of his marketing strategy and to get my name out there and to interact with people. I mean, totally love that as an author, but let's be honest, that's what's going on. And I cannot do that if I do 5,000 takes for a few minutes of content. Right now, I'm at about the max of what I can do, the bandwidth of what I do. I do about 10 hours a day, a week on this aspect, and that's about all I can handle because I got other stuff going on. So I just want to let you know I'm hard at it. I'm going to get better. That's my plan. Just bear with me. It'll be maybe some choppy editing and stuff, but that's what happens when you get 2 or 3 takes at the most, and that's all I'm doing. So I will get better, and that clickety 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 will not persist. I know what caused it. It won't happen this time, and we'll get better every time we do this. And I hope you guys hang around. And that's all I got to say. Y'all take care. I got to go record some videos. Bye. What's up, Internet? Welcome back to the Cigar City Book Club. I'm your host, Thad Diaz, author of the Cigar City Case Files, a hard-boiled detective series that takes place in Tampa and follows the exploits of an active duty firefighter who's a bail bondsman and a PI on his days off. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite books of all time, and certainly my favorite of the Kinsey Gennaro series, and that's a tough call. Darkness Take My Hand. A little warning. We are going to have some very light spoilers on some of the dangers and adversity and choices that Patrick makes, but I'm not going to tell you anything about the actual mystery, who does it, who the killer is, or any of that kind of thing. But it opens when an old friend wants Kinsey and Gennaro to help a colleague who's received these cryptic messages about her son. And they're very quickly drawn into this web that goes back of deceit that goes back decades. Bodies soon start turning up, and what seems to be a series of unconnected events soon becomes a pattern of revenge that goes back quite a while. And so now Patrick's going to have to solve this mystery before the killer makes good on his promise that not everyone Patrick loves can survive. This, I've already mentioned, is a favorite among favorites. I love the Kinsey Gennaro series. This is my favorite. I would say hands down because I love it so much, but man, I really like A Drink Before the War, and I really like Gone Baby Gone. But Darkness Take My Hand is a favorite and of the series, and it's quite possibly my favorite book. Certainly my favorite mystery. This isn't usually discussed as a literary classic, and it's not especially well known outside of some like deep Dennis Lehane fans, I think. He's better known for Mystic River and his trilogy, the Gangster trilogy. The name escapes me right now. I'm sorry, and for Shutter Island. But the Kinsey Gennaro series is top notch, and I really enjoyed it. But everything I love about about the Kinsey Gennaro series, the existential dread, the real stakes, the hard questions about clinging to your morality in a dark and broken world, all of that stuff is in this book in spades. And the last part is important because Patrick isn't just trying to identify a killer. He is trying to survive the choices the killer forces on him. And he's got to remain someone he can live with when all this is over with. So Patrick's really in a bit of a grinder here. Darkness Take My Hand starts with a very specific job. Find out who's sending Patrick's client these pictures of her son and make him stop. But none of what's happening turns out to be simple, and coincidence turns into tragedy, and bizarre deliveries become direct threats, and Patrick he is now forced to make one tough choice after another. And that is the book's main source of tension. Patrick is a real target here. And he has so much to lose. He's got a new girlfriend. She's got a beautiful daughter that he loves to death. Angie's in his life, and he's got all these friends, and so they're all in danger. And the killer's promise that not all of them can live hangs over every interview, every decision Patrick makes, and solving the case itself may not be enough, which we touched on before, right? About how we love the idea. I love the idea of stakes beyond the mystery, right? What does it cost the detective to solve the mystery? This falls right into that conversation. And, Patrick may have to decide who he can save and what he's going to have to do to save him. Is he willing to go as far as he has to go? And can he continue to be someone that he can live with on the other side? And that's the chef's kiss of the writing, right? That's what makes this much more than a simple detective story. And all of these different points of danger would be impossible for a lesser writer. But I'll be honest with you, Lehane handles this like a craftsman. Almost nothing in the novel is wasted. Every scene, every beat, every seemingly trivial detail, they all build towards a satisfying conclusion that leaves the reader gobsmacked, right? The A, B, and C plots gradually merge into this single narrative. Individual threads that seem completely unrelated get woven into this complex tapestry. And the impressive part is it never feels like Lehane is showing off, or that it just has this very workmanlike, very natural progression. And none of this feels, at least to me, none of this feels like they don't belong, or that there's a lot of, that I've got to do a lot of hard work to believe these things all interlock. They work very well together. So even though the construction is complicated, the story is always clear. And you may not know where he's going, right? It's a mystery. But you never feel like he's lost his way. Dennis Lehane is in charge. He's got it. You're going to be fine. And it always comes back to character and the choices that character has to make. None of the plotting would mean anything if we didn't care so much about Patrick and May, the child, and Grace, the girlfriend, and Angie, and all the other people who are in here, because they're not just slots that are being filled around Patrick to have someone for the killer to go after. We care about these people. That's why it's kind of a little bit of a slow burn on the front end. We're getting some character stuff. We're getting some interaction. We're getting some things that make us believe, that make us fall in love with, and get to better know characters we already know, and to fall in love with characters that we're being introduced to. And, that, like, a good example of that would be Angie Sadsack, ex-husband. He's trying to claw his way through a redemption arc. Baba Rogowski is in this one. He's as a mostly lovable psychopath. And then Kevin Herlihy. I love Kevin Herlihy, but he's this nerdy mob hitman with a broken voice and a black soul, right? And even the side characters feel as though they lived and breathed before Patrick ever walked into the room. And you want to stay with them. You want to know what's going to happen to them. You care about these people in a way that a lesser author wouldn't do for a lesser author. And I love that about this book. It gives the danger weight, and it creates real stakes in a book that is, like I said, that it's very well crafted. So, Darkness Take My Hand is a great book that I love very much. It must be perfect, right? Well, not exactly. One thing that dates the novel rather than reflects any sloppiness on the part of the author is some of the motivations and characterization of the serial killer antagonist in this book. I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't want to give anything away. But if you're a big fan of true crime podcasts. There's some things that might stand out to you, but I'll be honest with you, I don't care, right? Patrick also gets kind of drawn into the official investigation. It's a very natural, organic way that it happens. It's not like, hey, Patrick, we can't figure this out without you. Can you come and help us? He's, they do, he does get involved in a very natural sort of way. But I generally don't love that in PI fiction, mainly because there's really a problem with that when you're not sworn law enforcement officer and you're brought into investigations. And when I when I write, I try to keep my PIs a little separate because of that. In fact, uh, I do that in Sulphur Springs Slayer, uh, my own take on a serial killer story. So, um, you know, I, but I wouldn't change any of that because to make significant changes to the book would require tearing apart that intricate tapestry that is so perfect. It is such a good book, and I it's a butterfly effect. You start making these changes, you're going to mess it up. I wouldn't do it. So, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But humanity is what makes art, and we're imperfect people. So a little mistake, a little error, something that's not an imperfection, I guess you'd say, it gives the story character, and it's completely fine. None of that stuff doesn't work. And I love this blue collar hero struggling to hold on to his humanity in a broken world. And, that really resonates with me. Anyone who's read my stuff will know that is that is that is me. That is exactly what I like. So I wouldn't change any of that because it just works too well in too many ways to try and nitpick it. But what's your favorite mystery? Leave a comment. Let me know. We'll talk about it. But I'm going to go for now. I'll talk to you later.